Here we go. Another intro where Michael's laughing and we just hit record.
This is Auto Collabs.
I have a question. I have a real question for both of you because as a guy that has hair.
Didn't feel like a question.
Okay, yeah,
okay.
Let's have it. Let's have it.
As a guy that has hair, every few weeks, I got to trim that joker up just to make sure. Like, what is the volume of shaving that has to happen to keep the bald head tight at all times? Like,
I have a problem with this because it was easier when I had hair, because I like to have things like in order and in their place. And so it's like, you only get like, if you shave your head with like a straight or a razor, you only get like 2 really good days out of it.
Yep.
By the end of day 2, you're like, I gotta reset this thing. And that's a really annoying. I don't know if it's a thing for you, but like when I'm on the road, it's just way harder than when I'm at home. I don't know why.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because you got to go in blind, right?
It's the mirror situation. It's the water's different. You just have your own little chemistry. So like 2 days, but I don't know.
Here's my secret. The night before the morning of an event, that before I fly out, that sucker gets the bit.
Yep, I'm down with that. Same strategy.
Full swipes.
Then I have a Remington electric to maintain me while I'm on the road.
Just keep you down.
Got it.
And that's my game plan.
Well, hey,
all of that equals to me too much work.
Do something.
Too much work, by the way.
Way too much work.
Too much work.
But today we're talking with Steve White. Steve White's a good friend.
Speaking of somebody with hair, nice hair. Steve's got
nice hair. Great guy. And we just actually came off, I got to have him on a panel at ASOTU CON, and like the depth of knowledge this guy has of data. He goes, I don't know if you know this, but I'm a robot. Our company basically adds 1 billion rows of data to our data set every single month. And I was like, that's probably why you know a lot about all this stuff. 1 billion. That's unbelievable, right? A month, they're adding 1 billion rows of data to their data set. So I can't wait to dig into that. We hope that you enjoy this conversation with Steve White.
So, Steve, thanks so much for joining us. We've interacted on so many different, like on stages and in person, but I think this is the first time we have you all to ourselves for a podcast.
Yeah, it is. I'm excited. It's good to be here.
So we, on the show, we like to get a little bit more personal, like to understand the story behind the story. And I just realized
He's like, tell me what you had for breakfast.
But not that part. More like, I don't know how you got into the auto industry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's a funny story. So in 2004, I joined a local CBS affiliate, and they said, "Hey, can you help us sell these things called banner ads?" So basically, they wanted me to help monetize their website. And one of our bigger advertising groups at a TV station is auto dealers.
Yeah.
And so I saw an opportunity with the local newspaper, which also owns the TV station, to say, hey, let's do a joint venture between our two companies and do a regional automotive portal. So together we launched columbuscars.com in 2005. So
not okay. So like a listing site?
Yeah. Yep.
That's amazing. Okay, so because then at that point you would have been like competing at that point with Auto Trader and Cars, basically, were the only two things on the market.
Yep.
How did that go locally? Was it like something that got adopted, or was it kind of a secondary?
It was definitely a secondary. I think it was a way for us to get into digital with auto dealers, to be honest. I mean, it was like, hey, we can put your listing up here, and also we can sell you an online and an offline package, and so it was a good bundling type of effect. But I would definitely say it was not generating the lead volume that like a traditional marketplace was.
Yeah, but it's like it's an easy in, right?
Yeah,
it's
totally.
an easy in. That's cool. So then, how did you? So now you've become like the one of the tech forward people in auto. What was the progress from like selling banner ads to
Right.
now I'm thinking about some of the deepest tech that auto has.
Yeah. So then I left there. I got recruited from there to go work for a company called Auto Dealer Traffic, which was like early pioneer in automotive search marketing. So I was there for like 3 years, and then I went out on my own after that to start my own agency. And one of my first clients when I started was Rhett Reichert. And so my big pitch to him was, hey, I won't be like a traditional agency. I won't charge you a percentage of spend. I'll only charge you when we, perform on a leads basis, or it was back in the day when like keywords were really important, like your keyword ranking and stuff. And
Yeah.
so we came up with this thing where we said we will only charge you if we increase your keyword rankings. So I often joke, I say, if I wanted to pay my mortgage that month, I had to be really good at measurement. And so that was kind of the foray into getting really good at measurement, because everything was tied to the performance of how well we were doing from an SEO perspective in particular.
What year about was this?
2009.
So can you tell us about Rhett?
Like the
Rhett
internet was
Reichert?
still trying to be born, I feel.
Yeah,
like.
can you tell us about Rhett Reichert in 2009? Because we only know the like almost retired NADA president version.
Yeah, he was super hands on.
Or chairman.
He was super hands on. In fact, while I was working with them, I was invited to their general manager meeting every single week, and then would present updates on different aspects of the digital marketing. And then the other thing that I did, that was during the whole Cash for Clunkers. And so one of the things I did is I said, hey, Rhett, I think we should do something around clunkers. And I said, I think I can get a phone number, 614 clunker. So I secured 614 clunker for them, and they ran it on.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, they ran it on TV for, I don't know, 6-9 months, and they just killed it.
Oh my gosh! Think of that. Back in the day.
Yeah.
Especially.
Oh my goodness! Now I'm like, wait a second.
Wait a second.
Has anyone created area code EV credit?
Yeah.
Yet?
Right.
It's like the same exact thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You still remember
That's
the number?
A free one. We're 5 minutes into the podcast. Everybody's got a free one on us.
Yeah.
That's good. That's amazing. So you're in the Columbus area. Are you an Ohio State fan?
No. I went to Indiana University. So I'm an IU fan. So we don't have much of a football team. So it's all basketball.
All basketball. Yeah, you're like, I don't really care about it.
Yeah.
At least Indiana fans don't care about it. Man, that was my whole
that was his point of connection.
I was gonna be all excited. I did go to school in Indiana, not Indiana University, just a little piddly school, so it doesn't really count. So this is like I always love talking to people that have like we were talking to Melissa at Auto Nation, and like her journey through just the multiple layers of digital in just not even in auto, but in just like the way that the world approaches digital. And you've seen a similar journey being tied to it so long in your career.
Mm-hmm.
What like as we're turning the corner right now, and there's still, I feel like there's this desire to understand, desire to dig into digital,
right?
Where I feel like as an industry, or even as the world, we still don't fully understand exactly like what we're doing, why we're doing it, when we're doing it. What's the like new turn that you're feeling and sensing as you're like looking across it? Because you deal with more than just the auto industry at this point.
Yeah, we do. We have some non-automotive clients, but I think it is truly. I know it's cliche, but it is really about first-party data and really leaning in on that. And that's what the panel was about at ASOTU CON with Nathan, and how he really leaned in on first party data and being able to not only organize the first party data, but also activate it. And I think the unique twist that he put on it is he activated it programmatically. And so being able to target these people from a cookieless perspective, but not only being able to target them, but also being able to measure it back. And so
All
I
right.
think,
All right. We got to do a thing because you just said a lot of words that sound super smart, and we follow most of them. But let's track back. Let's go first party data. Give us just like the one or two quick one-liner on what first party data means in automotive.
it's all your data, all the data that you collect, whether it's CRM, DMS, website data, and even other first party data that not a lot of people think about. It's the first party marketing data, so all of the click trail data that you generate as well. So that's all your data that you own.
All right. Next word, programmatic.
Programmatic. So that's being able to buy media in real-time bidding platforms. So like one example would be like the trade desk. And so the trade desk, you can buy CTV, you can buy video, you can buy display, you can buy programmatic audio. And so you're bidding on all of those pieces of inventory.
All right. Last one, cookieless future.
Yeah.
Because okay, but explain this one a little bit more, because I think especially as someone who's measuring this stuff and looking at data all the time, it can kind of become like, okay, cookieless future, it's not that scary, but also it is scary. And there was a lot of, I feel like when Google first kind of came out and was like, we're getting, Safari came out, we're getting rid of cookies like a year and a half ago. Everyone was up in arms and everyone was talking about it.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of gone by the wayside, but it's still a big issue. Talk about like, what does that mean for, maybe give us like the perspective of the dealer and the consumer, actually, because I think both sides are interesting.
Yeah. So I think from a dealer perspective, it's the easiest thing to kind of put your arms around is like the notion of retargeting. So website retargeting, arguably one of the best end market audiences a dealer has access to. And so what happens is when cookies, are blocked, like on Safari, you can't retarget a Safari user, period. And you think about your most important consumer, and a lot of them are using iOS devices and they use a default Safari browser. So you can't reach those people. And so when you think about the statistics of what 3 to 4% of people might fill out a lead or do a phone call, so that's 97% of your traffic that it goes out the window. You've potentially lost them forever, that you can't retarget them. So that's super important. And from a pragmatic perspective, leaning in on different types of solutions that enable you to overcome some of those cookie blocking things that Apple is doing. But then when Chrome comes along, then you're not going to be able to retarget anyone using third party cookies. So it's a really big deal, and I don't think enough people are focused on it. They're just kind of burying their head in the sand.
Yeah. What does that mean for a consumer? Because it's always like, that's what we want, right?
Right.
As an advertiser.
Right.
What does that mean for as a consumer?
Yeah, I think it's going to definitely impact personalization, because you can't personalize your creative now once cookies go away. If you think about it, because you have to have that third party cookie bridge to be able to reach those people in different channels.
And I think at face value, consumers would like kind of knee-jerk reaction say, yeah, I don't want anybody tracking me. I don't want companies knowing any of this information without fully understanding what that information, granted, people leverage information in all types of ways, but from a marketing standpoint, the reason they have a better experience while browsing, while seeing advertising, is because it's relevant, because the creative is right, because the products are those of which they're interested in. And so I think that like there is this level of education even about what that means, because it's easy to get up in arms about like tracking and cookies and privacy. But on the other side, the marketers are saying like, wait. I think I really think Elon Musk said it best. Like when advertising is relevant and well done, it's actually content.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And how many times have you been on like shopping for something and you're like, what was the name of that product?
Oh.
It's like, I wish they would retarget me.
All the time. Yeah. Literally.
Yeah, please. I know it'll come back around. No, they shut the
No.
spend off. It's over. Right? Dang it. Our head
So
writer,
right.
Chris Reeves, he just made a post on LinkedIn. I think it was today, maybe yesterday. And it said, "Dear YouTube, my handrail is officially hung in my new house. Please stop showing me how to hang it." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Oh man. So then how do we okay, we've got all of those are the facts. That's what we're dealing with as an industry, whether people like it or not. But how do we translate that to something that's real, that's actually actionable in the store to create, like, not just create demand, but assume the demand that's already there? What are things that people can actually be doing right now to make sure that they're solving for that, especially as like iOS 17 has totally changed the game, and then we're going to see more updates with Chrome and more updates with iOS. What are people doing right now?
Yeah, I think it's, leveraging different platforms that are out there that will enrich your first party data with different cookieless identifiers. And so, making sure, like two of the identifiers that we use with our clients are ramp ID, which is LiveRamp's identifier. And then the trade desk has UID 2.0. And so when you onboard your first party data, making sure that you're also enriching it with other types of identifiers, so that you can reach these people in environments where cookies are no longer supported. And so, just to nerd out for a second, like in what they call in the programmatic bid stream, basically, it is where there are different types of identifiers that are cookieless that you can target against. And so that's what happens when you're bidding on a piece of inventory. You're basically sending an identity envelope of identifiers, whether it's a hashed email, whether it's an IP address or a UID 2.0 or a ramp ID. So making sure that you're partnering with different types of providers that can do that for you is critical.
Where's the biggest information gap right now when it comes to educating dealers, marketing managers about the change that's coming, what they need to do now, and what they don't need to do now? I think is also a thing because there's a lot of skies falling rhetoric. What would you say?
Yeah,
Like, here's what you need to pay attention to now. Here's what you need to be aware of, but you don't have to do anything right now.
right. I would say the first thing is identify where all your data sources are. So make sure you can easily download all those different data sources.
Let me stop you right
Begin,
there. In your experience,
yeah.
how many dealers understand all of their data sources, like would know how to do that?
Oh, they'd have to make several phone calls to be able to get that done.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
that you feel like there's a big, I mean, there's obviously a good bit of work. Do you think
Yes.
most dealers would even know who to call?
Probably not.
Okay,
The
I
answer is
got you.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I'll say it. Right. So got it.
Yeah.
Got it. First,
Yeah.
identify your data sources and make sure that you have access and free flowing, ownership of
Right.
those.
Yep.
Okay.
And then the next thing I think is, develop a segmentation strategy. How do you want to segment your data? So like when you export it, make sure that you're exporting the fields that you want to be able to segment on, if that makes sense. So
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
things like, the day that they last serviced, the day that they obviously purchased, the lease expiration, all that kind of stuff. And so just be thinking about how you want to segment your data.
Yeah. When I think about segment, I also think about message. Like,
Right.
who do you want to talk to and what do you want to say? And
Right.
that's going to create the segment, right? Like,
Right.
if you have a type of people that are potentially in your database and a message that you need to get to them, that's how you're going to need to segment. That's the data that you need to pull out or
Right.
grab out of those data sources in order to create those segments. And so it's like our joint good friend Ben Hadley always says, like, begin with the press release in mind as the Amazon strategy,
Yeah.
right? What do you want the message to say that you can track back to that, so that when you're extracting the data and putting it in a repository, then you can action off that data.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yep. Totally.
Mhm.
It's like it sounds so easy, but it is very difficult, Because I
Yeah.
mean, you guys have put in what, 7, 8, 9 years or something like that into just being able to
Yes.
grab all that data and put it into one place, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's still struggles.
Oh yeah. 8+ years now. Yeah.
And what are like, because you're pulling in Clarivoy, like is pulling in many more data sources than even maybe a dealer might have access to at this point.
Yeah.
Right?
So like
to be able to
yeah.
find
So
out what's going on.
yeah. So like our tracking code is on every major North American automotive marketplace. So we are tracking like 130 million shopper sessions every single month, generating 800 million page views. So we're literally adding 1 billion rows of data to our data warehouse every single month.
Just a couple two tree.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. So what are you excited about next? What do you like? What are you all excited about leveraging or getting into next with all of that data at hand?
I think just different partnership opportunities, data collaboration partnership opportunities, I think are going to be huge. Things like, and we've talked about this in the past, where we've got a couple tests where we can identify when a customer of one of our clients is back in market shopping on a marketplace. And so this customer maybe bought 3-4 years ago and suddenly is back shopping on a marketplace. Imagine being able to now programmatically serve them an ad. And we're doing that today. And we're tracing it all the way back through the entire consumer purchase journey. So it's that's probably the biggest thing where I'm super excited because I think it really enables a dealer to get more out of their first party data.
Yeah. Well, because retention is everything right now.
Yes. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, Steve, you've given us like everybody on the pod, everyone listening is like pause, write that down, pause, write that down, pause, write that down. There's been a lot of rich stuff. I'm so glad you are a part of the industry because you give us deep, vast knowledge every single time we hang out. Thanks for being a part of ASOTU CON and to be a part of the ASOTU world. And on behalf of myself and Paul and Michael, who couldn't be here because he's got jings. Appreciate you being here on Auto Collabs.
Love you guys, appreciate you guys, and I think also the cool story about how ASOTU CON got started was pretty awesome as well, with the whole Jim McKelvey connection.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Oh yeah.
Yes,
for sure. All the way back.
Oh, that's right. Wait. Okay, we can't end the pod. We can't end the pod here. Everybody, this is the PS we forgot.
Okay. I'm going to start the story, and this will probably be the one that gets clipped out of the podcast and put first.
We'll just throw this on the front bumper.
I'm so glad you just brought that up.
Golly, what were we doing, Steve?
I don't know.
Thank you for saving us.
I asked the things that I didn't know.
Right.
This is the story that most people didn't know. Okay, let's talk about this for a second. So Kyle is still working at a dealership, and he was asked to speak at Digital Dealer in Tampa in 2021.
Yeah.
So I show up to hear my boy Kyle speak for the first time. Some guy sits next to me and we're just chatting, and he's like, hey, yeah, we're talking about business and startup life and all that stuff. And he's like, I read this great book. And he's like, it's called The Innovation Stack. I was like, really? I wrote it down. I ordered it on the spot because I was like, okay, it's credible reference, right? Or a recommendation. And I love books. So buy the book. We sit there, we watch Kyle light up the room. It was amazing. After that, obviously, Kyle and I started, we started a small consultancy together, and then ASOTU just like kind of kept spinning up. And then ASOTU CON comes around and read the book, Innovation Stack, flipped it to Kyle. Kyle reads it. We're like, this is exactly what we're trying to do. Like Jim McKelvey, founder of Square, and talked about Southwest Airlines and Bank of America. They took a small thing and realized there were people just outside the fringe that wanted to be involved, but they had no way to do it, like credit card processing. So we're like, that's what we're doing with ASOTU. We're taking like the people just on the next level out to bringing them a step in. We had get Jim McKelvey to speak at ASOTU CON 2022. And I was like, man, I can't remember for the life of me who recommended that book. Kyle's looking at his pictures from the day. And then you were walking into ASOTU CON and we were talking about it, and you're like, that was me. And I was like, ah!
So good. So good.
Inadvertently, Steve actually.
So many people have you to thank for what ASOTU is today.
And the fact that we like literally, you're the reason Jim McKelvey was at ASOTU CON 2022. Period. End of story. Actually, I have that.
That's cool.
You can probably see it in the back. It's right there. That's the copy of the book that's the exact copy I bought when you recommended to me. It was at my house when I got home. It's right here.
There you go.
That's awesome.
Hey,
I'm so
if
glad
you
you
haven't
brought
read
that
that
up.
book, people should read that
Oh,
book.
heck
And
yeah.
thank you, Steve, so much
Yeah.
for all that.
Yeah. That's a great story.
It was a great story. Well, till next time.
Yeah.
For great stories at the beginning and end of
Yes.
pods. Thanks for joining us on Auto Collabs.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
I'm so glad he brought the story up at the end of the show because we met for the first time outside. Was it the first time? Outside of ASOTU CON, the first one, 2022. He was like, I was the one that gave you Innovation Stack. And we had
So
Jim
good.
McKelvey speak at that event. And so he got to meet Jim McKelvey as a result of him recommending the book to me, 2 years prior. It's just, he's that guy. I'm so glad he's in the middle of that story. I'm so glad it's him.
You know
Collabs
what's
universe is starting to we're starting to find common stars in this solar system
Yeah.
that are tying this
A few
whole
Well,
degrees
you
of
know what's so
separation.
okay? So tie that because he's also the data guy, right? That I was talking about, and it's like when you think about like all of the audiences and people who do things like this also do things like this. It starts to like it gets out of the digital world, and what we're finding is like people that feel and experience the life in the same way and the world the same way, there's this almost like this pull to like we're all kind of gonna come find the center. And that's what like Innovation Stack and the introduction of all of us and the introduction of what ASOTU means to the industry, like it actually maps to how Clarivoy is thinking about data on that side, on the digital side, because our offline like bodies and world actually interacts in a similar way.
That it does.
I love that general consumer sentiment is, did you know your phone's listening to you? That's how you see ads. That I was just talking about Harry Potter Land and now I'm seeing ads for it. And it's like, he's sitting here going like, is that all you think we know about you?
1 billion lines
Yeah,
of
Guys,
data.
like 1
right?
billion. You say that, and I'm like, hey, I don't think we throw around the $1 billion. We throw around the billion word like it's nothing these days. But I was talking to my kids once, just to like round this off in my brain, tie a bow on it. I was talking to my kids once. I'm like, what's the difference between a million and a billion? They're like, oh, I don't know. And I'm like, a million seconds is 2.5 weeks long, 84,600 seconds in a day. 1 million seconds, 2.5 weeks. A billion seconds, 31.5 years.
Yeah, big difference.
That's nuts.
He's adding those rows.
1000x.
How much? Yeah, your phone's listening to you, by the way.
BTW. Well, on that note, we're not listening to you. You're listening to us. Thank you so much for that. On behalf of Kyle Mountsier, Michael Cirillo, and myself, thank you for listening to Auto Collabs.
Welcome to Auto Collabs. Why are we recording?
Are we rolling yet?